After 4 days of intensifying protests and widespread opposition from lawmakers, President Ivan Duque didn't have many options left but to withdraw his controversial tax reform.
Le solicito al Congreso de la República.
I'm asking Congress to withdraw the law proposed by the Finance Ministry and urgently process a new law that is the fruit of consensus in order to avoid financial uncertainty. The reform is not a whim. The reform is a necessity. To withdraw it or not was not the discussion. The real discussion is to be able to guarantee the continuity of social programs.
Celebratory cacerolazos beating on pots and pans could be heard in the capital Bogota just minutes after the announcement. On Friday, Duque had already promised to make changes to the law, removing the most controversial points, like new taxes on food. But in the face of a growing debt toll, looting and accusation of abuses by the police, he pulled it all together. Protesters hailed the announcement as a victory, but they still have a long list of grievances and say that the protests will continue.
There's also labor reform, pension and health reform, the issue of corruption, the increasing violence against community leaders. The protest will continue and we will not grow tired.
Some analysts in the country consider a tax reform necessary to stabilize Colombia's finances and maintain its international debt credit, but blame the government for pushing forward a bill nobody liked.
The government still could have prevented all the pain and all the suffering that went into the first 4 days of protests if it had at least listened to people, if he had listened and consulted with the political parties, if he had listened and consulted with public opinion. But they decided, despite everything, to go ahead and introduce the reform in spite of their knowledge that it was deeply unpopular, some parts of it.
The withdrawal shows just how isolated President Duque is in a country increasingly on edge. While he's hoping to gather support for a revised tax reform, with less than a year to go before new elections, the political reality on the streets and in Congress might make it unlikely. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogota.